Yes, let's get into the Watford side of the story, which we will do when we've heard from the manager. He looked shell-shocked at the end, didn't he? Here is Claudio Ranieri.
Claudio, having had not one but 3 points in your sights, just how difficult is it to take tonight?
Yes, it's unbelievable because we were winning 1-0. We had the chance to score the second goal and finish the match. But of course, Brentford pushed a lot. At the end, we make 3 mistakes for the penalty. It's unbelievable. It's finished the match. Okay, we drew, finish the match. We can put the ball, a short ball, you make mistake twice, and the penalties and other mistakes. And at the end, we had to say Brentford deserved to win. Well done to them.
Was that the key in the end? Poor decision-making on your part at the back?
Yes, I know, but we want to go straight away forward, but maybe we were too scared about them, and because there were a lot of space to do something more. We are ready to do much better this, but it's okay. We can learn, just learn, but I wanted some points.
How much did you need that second goal looking back?
Yes, of course, we needed a second goal, but they scored the second goal.
You made a change in the second half. You took off Tom Cleverley. You put on another forward player in João Pedro. What was the thinking there?
Yes, Tom was... he gave everything, and I put another midfielder. João Pedro, often when he came on the pitch, made very good games. Today were not so good, but he's a young. He had to improve a lot.
You made it clear coming into this game that these were now the kind of games that you needed points from. You needed something to show from it. How much of a missed opportunity does this feel here and now?
Yeah, we miss a lot of opportunity today because we know it was an important match, but maybe a lot of them, the Brentford team, were ready to the battle, and some my players no. Some yes, some no, and we had to understand. The Premier League is a fighter, quality, everything, and you have to be smart in every situation.
What is your message to your players here and now? Because this is a particularly difficult setback to pick them up from.
Yes, I know. We played much better against big teams, and today we were, I don't know, a little nervous because we made so many mistakes. We passed badly sometimes, and I don't understand why.
Appreciate your time, Claudio. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to you.
Thank you very much.
Well, that would be a concern. He doesn't understand why.
I think that, look, I spoke about it before the game. I spoke about their defending. I actually think we spoke about them fatiguing through the game. And I think because of the way they defend, and they defend in isolation, they tire themselves out. They were just exposed defensively today. I just didn't think that they looked like a team that knew what they were doing in and out of possession. And I think that makes it even hard. And the longer the game goes on, and that they're a team that haven't gone a game without conceding a goal, it plays on your mind as a player. You're trying to keep that, but then you want to press and do the right things. And they just look so disjointed. And that's the reason why they've lost this game and they're continuing to lose games, is because there's no connection.
Yeah,
there's no clear pattern in or out of possession with this Watford team.
They gradually started to drop and drop and drop. So it was like sort of 20, 25 minutes to go. All of a sudden that block became lower, deeper and deeper. In the end, they're sat on the edge of their own box and they're scuffing clearances away, and they're not gaining any ground. They can't give the back four a breather. And like with the penalty that Troost-Ekong conceded, they were all shattered on their heels. It was a lazy lunge of a defender that looks like they've been so under the cosh for such a long period. They were never able to relieve the pressure at all, I don't think. And Farah's absolutely right. They don't look like a team to me that has any ruthlessness about the way that they defend. I think they are a team that's easy to penetrate. You can find gaps between them. You can run between people, and you won't be tracked. People will let you go. And today they looked a tired team at the end.
And it's the concern, Andy, that they've actually conceded 21 goals since Ranieri arrived. So they've got worse, because no team's got a record anywhere near that since they changed the manager.
No. Look, there is no question, Steve, no question that they're getting worse. I mean, look, that run of fixtures when Claudio Ranieri first arrived, look, not easy. Liverpool, Everton, Southampton, Arsenal, United, not easy. Followed by Leicester, Chelsea and City. But Could there be? Were there any visible signs in there of the team looking like Farrow they were going to get better, looking like they're improving defensively? I don't think so. Do you?
No, I think they come up against an Everton team that, in the 5-2, I think defensively Everton were very poor in that game. I think the United
2-1
the
up
same
Everton
for
with
that.
about
Everton,
15 minutes to go.
Exactly that, and I think even the United game, I think the defending in that game and where they were at, with Ollie, I think that they were both of those games that they played and got results from. I think the teams that they come up against in that moment were in a bad moment themselves, and so I think you can't really take much from them games. But as for the rest of them, look, they can't go through games conceding goals and expecting to get results from it, and they're doing that far too often.
I actually wonder what the owners actually would be thinking right now. If you're in control of a club like Watford, a Premier League club, and you're brave to make changes and lots of changes and prepared to make it 2 or 3 times in a season if you have to, changing your manager, I wonder what they're absolutely
Can I ask
thinking
you a question when
right
you're
now.
wondering, do Watford look in any way better off now than the day they sacked Xisco?
No, I don't. Well, I don't see anything tangible at the moment for what Ranieri's doing that says in any way, shape or form they're better off. Not at all. Not at all. Claudio Ranieri has been, was at one stage in his career, an elite manager. He won the Premier League with Leicester City, which was an incredible achievement. But he's also been a journeyman for a long, long time.
But Xisco won 2 of 7 and got the sack.
Yep.
Ranieri's now won 2 of 9.
Yep. Those
And
fixtures,
lost 7.
Steve, are difficult, weren't they, Farrell? Those fixtures were tough. He's probably got
But to
games
your
coming
point,
up.
they made a change after 7 games, and the manager had won 2 of them.
Yep, exactly. And my point
And they
is
weren't in the relegation zone.
no, and they're going to find themselves now probably going into the new year. I mean, they've got Burnley and Palace. Their next 2. I mean, the next one is like
Burnley away, that's a tough one, isn't it?
an enormous game, and it's a tough one. And you're going to have to defend. You're going to have to defend your 6-yard box, your penalty spot. Your goalie's going to have to come and claim things above all the big guys in front of you, because Burnley will put it in there. They will throw people in there after it. And if you show any sign of any weakness in that respect, they will score against you. So I worry massively for Watford. And I worry really for Claudio Ranieri. Not that I should, because the guy's had so many jobs. He's had
This
tons
is
of
his
jobs.
21st job.
Yeah, good luck to him. And he's still got the enthusiasm for the business. And at his age, with respects, that's to be admired. But I worry that what he's giving the team, I just don't see it.
They're going to struggle at Burnley away. You look at what they did in the second half in this game. The minute Brentford started to put ball in the box, and that's what Burnley are known for. They're known for putting in, but they've got Woods up there, target men in the box. They're going to do that all day long against this Watford team, who I don't think are comfortable defending aerial deliveries.
No.
They haven't got. I'm saying it, they've got experience, but they haven't got players that want to defend correctly. They don't want to defend ugly.
No.
They want to defend pretty. They want everything to be easy and in front and comfortable. They're not ugly defenders that want to do the ugly side of the game.
It's very true.
And they're going to struggle away at Burnley next weekend.
Yeah, absolutely right.
And from a player's point of view, when you're in the dressing room thinking, well, we've conceded more goals than any other team since this manager came in. I know you've played difficult games. We haven't kept a clean sheet all season. We're the only team. 26 top-flight games without one. What kind of confidence can you get to get a foundation to go and get an important win?
It's difficult. They were in a good position today, and with the experience they've got in Cleverley and Sissoko in that middle, and somebody who's a centre midfielder myself, in a game like that where Brentford weren't playing too well, they were in control in terms of the results, so they were a goal up, and they could have managed that better. And I just don't think they managed the game well.
No.
For the experience that they had in there, and you heard Thomas Frank talk about the experience in terms of minutes that the Watford players had in comparison, they just didn't manage the game well. They genuinely didn't manage or control the tempo of the game. They didn't, as I said, they were neither here nor there. They were neither trying to attack or trying to keep the clean sheet. And for the experience, so I'm keeping King in, I'm keeping Pedro, I'm keeping them tight. I'm keeping them with me. We're going to be hard to beat. And I don't think they did that. I don't think they did that well enough.
No, they've got massive problems. They're going to have it full on. I'll be interested to know what they're thinking as well in terms of their planning for January. And again, I wouldn't think Mr. Ranieri will have too much say in that. That will have already been done, or the wheels are in motion for all of that. In terms of acquisitions, that's what they do. They specialise. They like to consider themselves specialists in that respect in terms of the way that they're prepared to wheel and deal. They turn over massive amounts of players every year. tons come in. It must be a tough club to support.
Yeah.
Watford, it must be, because you see players come, you get attached to, they're gone, they're sold, they move on to something better. You've got one or two. You've got Ben Foster, you've got Cathcart, you've got Cleverley, you've got guys that have been there a while now. We've seen the Troy Deeneys in the past, how influential those kind of players were for the club. But there aren't too many of them now in those key positions, I don't think. And it could catch up with them this time.
Now, what I'm going to show you next is irrelevant to you two, because you were always first 11 players, never a substitute, Farah, like yourself, Andy, always with the armband on. But he wanted to make changes, Claudio Ranieri, today, and we've spotted how upset he was that the substitutes weren't ready to come on.
Yeah, João Pedro, look at him, look, he's screaming at his staff to say, someone go and get him down this touchline pretty quick. I want to get him on. And now you can see him, look, he looks like he's having a little bit of a jog. And you can see the staff there saying, come on, let's get going. When he came on the field, he was a bit lacklustre, Farrell, wasn't he?
Yeah, he just wasn't at the rate. You know, this frustrates me. When I was a player, it was one of the most frustrating things. When I was on the occasions I was on the bench, I was ready. Shin pads were on, shirt was underneath, and all I had to do was I was itching to get on the pitch. These players sometimes don't look like they're ready, don't look like they can be bothered. As I mentioned before, it's a cold, wet Friday evening. Do I want to get on the pitch? Do I not? He should be ready to come on. He should be up and down, like, especially in the second half. Maybe not in the first half. They ask you to go out, and that's probably to keep yourself warm. But second half, you've got an opportunity to come on. There's more realistic chance of making substitutions in the second half. He should be getting warmed up to come on. His team need him. And you can see the frustration in him. And as a coach, I mean, I was frustrated as a player. So, you know, for a coach to see that and want to get that sub on, and he's half like, you know what, you want me to go? You don't need players like that. You need players that are ready.
And is that in stark contrast to the togetherness and spirit we're seeing from Brentford?
You see, you know, I think what you saw with Brentford in the second half, once they started to get some momentum in the game, they got the bit between their teeth, then you saw a team that knew what they were doing, that knew that they could probably sense that more than any of us. They could sense that the game was now turning. They were in the box seat, they were in control, they were asking the questions, and that they would eventually find a way. They'd force something into the back of that net. Fair play to them. That's exactly what they did.
Let's hear from the man beaten twice in the Watford goal. Late on, the Austrian, Daniel Bachmann.
Daniel, commiserations. Are you still wondering how this one got away from you tonight?
Yeah, obviously it's very disappointing to lose in the manner we did. I think it was 5 minutes to go, we're 1-0 up, and yeah, couldn't hold on to it. But probably if I say what I really think, I get in a lot of trouble. So just keep quiet. Well, for 80-odd minutes, you seem to be defend very stoutly, very well. Did you feel you were doing enough? Did you feel you'd done enough almost? Yeah, I mean, I didn't think we played badly at all. You know, we were in control of the game, certainly in the first half. And I think they had a couple of chances, but I think we were in control of the game after we scored, and you know, nothing really happened that could trouble us until they equalised. Yeah, obviously the penalty. I mean, I've not seen it back, so I don't really want to say anything. I mean, VAR, it's difficult to criticise, but from my point of view, his knees already touched the ground before Will even started sliding, so I don't really know how that can be a penalty. But yeah, like I said, if I say what I really think, I'll probably get in trouble. So.
Well, he doesn't think it was a penalty. I think most people would, but he was beaten. The all-important goal was the equaliser, wasn't it? As you've both been saying, as they were trying to see this out for a first clean sheet.
And I think when we're talking about, Farah mentioned about they defend in isolation, that they're not necessarily together. I think it's a classic example. That's João Pedro at the top of the screen, not doing enough to stop that cross coming. We know what happens. Great little near-post flick, and Janssen finishes it. So let's have a little look now. Once that little drag back there, a team that works on their defensive play, a team that hasn't gone 25, 26 games without a clean sheet, would be out, would be coming up the way, and Janssen, all 6 foot, whatever it is of him, would probably be standing half a yard offside, right? But because they're not together, because they're not drilled, because they don't really know, because there's so many mixed messages, different voices, there's so many things going on, I think, which complicate Watford's life as a defensive unit. And that is a classic example of it, that if that's one of the top teams, the minute a player does this, chops back, out, everybody steps up a yard. They don't, they stay in there. Everyone's staying there, and the big man scores a goal.
You just look at the line, though. Normally a defensive line and how they shape up. It's on the angle, so they keep the furthest one is normally the one that dictates the line.
Yeah.
And actually, he's the deepest player. So normally he's up and he's dictating the line and they're in line and keeping the player, and Janssen in that example would be offside. But he's actually the deepest player on that. So you can see it as a defensive unit, they would normally, it's the margins, it's the half yards, they're up, they're dropping, is a cross coming in, nope, I'm squeezing again.
Yeah.
And they just haven't done that, but they're not tuned into doing that.
No.
There's no leader.
If we can see the build-up to the penalty as well, if the guys can run that, if the guys can just run the build-up to the penalty, you'll see what I mean about in terms of, so watch this, look, late in the game, watch this pass.
Lazy.
Watch that, it's a lazy, tired pass. Puts everyone on the back foot. Watch this one. Another one they give away. So, and now you're on your heels. Now they're dropping back onto the 18-yard box, dropping into the box, penalty spot area. And now he lunges and concedes a pen. You know, again, that's not a team that are drilled with 3 minutes on the clock to take the point and go back to Watford with something in their back pocket. That's not a team that understands what they're doing. Farah made the point about she don't really recognise exactly what they're doing with or without the ball, and it's exactly what they are.
And can a team making those kind of errors stay in the Premier League over a 38-game season?
I don't think so. I don't. We spoke about Norwich early on in the season, and it's similar. They were naive in their defending, no connection. I think Dean Smith's gone in and done a great job. They're in a similar situation. Their defending they're so naive that they're too ball greedy in terms of wanting to go and win every ball that comes into their zone or a channel. They don't lock onto players. There's big gaps.
Yeah.
I don't think so. A team that can't go through a game without conceding a goal, they can't stay in the Premier League.
No.
OK, so trouble for Watford. Big win for Brentford. The first of our Premier League games over this weekend.